Last thing I got, David, we can talk about this for a little bit. I finished reading this book. This is Aftermath Life Debt, which is the second of the Aftermath trilogy. This takes place after Jedi, before Force Awakens. More specifically, it takes place literally right after Jedi, or after the original Aftermath took place, right after Return of the Jedi.
After Aftermath.
After Aftermath. Yeah, it's very good. How in depth do you want me to go, David? I took a lot of notes.
I don't want you to like fully spoil it. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, do you want to?
Did you read Aftermath?
No, I read some of it.
Then you read most of it.
Yeah.
So a lot of this book is called Life Debt. A lot of this book is Han Solo. Like, one of the big narratives of the book is Han Solo trying to help one, rescue Chewie because he got captured, and then what is it called when you save a whole planet? Or,
when you save a planet?
Yeah.
That sounds like what you save a planet.
Anyway, save Kashyyyk from Imperial rule and save the Wookiees and all that stuff who were put in slave labor and stuff. See, that's kind of the big thing. But we learned some new things in this. Like we learned General Hux's first name, which is Armistice, which is super lame.
Wow. Armistice Hux?
Yeah, Armistice Hux, yeah.
We don't do we have to continue? I mean, that's all I really needed out of
this. That's done.
How many pages? That's perfect, because that's all I needed.
The rest are just blank after the first 10.
I'm trying not to spoil too much stuff, dude. I do have some Supreme Leader Snoke theories in this.
Smoke?
Snoke, David. Or Dan. Snoke.
Snoke, okay, so...
I mean, how far do you want me to get, David?
Let's do this. Let's spoil the hell out of this. I don't really care. Because if you're going to read this book, then check out and come back afterwards. But if you don't care, then we're just going to spoil this, because this will be the end of your What You Doing. So let's talk about it, and we'll talk about general theories of Star Wars.
All right, well, the big bad guy in this movie that was kind of teased at the end of the last book, his name is Gallus Rax. He's pretty much a puppeteer. He doesn't want to call himself the leader of the Empire, but he forms like this shadow council, is what he calls it, of Imperial leaders, and pretty much...
who's left over after the Return of the Jedi completes.
Right, yeah.
So like, the Emperor's been...
Maybe some people don't know what happened before this book and after Return of the Jedi.
The Empire is obviously in disarray, so he's trying to get all these, segmented parts of the Empire all together to kind of bring the Empire back together to try to form some kind of attack against the New Republic.
Yeah.
And try to get the Empire to what it used to be.
Remember?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I got so many notes here. We also see Leia in this book, obviously a lot, kind of start her frustration with the New Republic and how, obviously it's a government now. They're not an alliance. They can't just go attack planets whenever they want when it benefits them. So, like, she wants to go help Han on Kashyyyk and stuff, but Mon Mothma's like, no, we can't do that. We can put it to a vote and see.
Yeah, it becomes a bureaucrat.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It becomes right. The idea of, like, the rebellion is it's small and it's this band of rebels, so you can make quick decisions and turns and change appropriately. But once you have this new alliance, or whatever they call it, what is it?
New Republic.
New Republic, you have to... You don't want what you did is got rid of the people who didn't ask everybody else. So the worst thing you can do is be like, let's not ask anybody what they want to do and just do what we want to do. Like, I can, and I'm sure, I hope that is explored in here. The idea of like Mon Mothma being like, you want us to be what you got rid of. We gotta ask people what they want to do.
It starts in the book prior to this.
That's good.
Yeah, that kind of tension, and it kind of gets to a point where both Leia and Mon Mothma are fighting in this, like having disagreement.
That's awesome.
Like, whoa,
Pulling hair.
No actual cat fight.
But anyways,
you really missed the ball on that.
She's also pregnant with Ben, obviously, during
Ben?
this book.
Stop it.
Wait,
Ben Kenobi? You are breaking all kinds of timeline here, Disney.
I guess by the end of the book, I'm not going to like spoil too much, but by the end of the book, everyone's kind of centering in on Jakku, which we know is the planet from Force Awakens. We know there was some kind of battle there because we see like the Down Star Destroyer and all that. The third book and final book in this trilogy will cover that battle, I guess. And it's revealed at the end of this book that 30 years prior to this timeline, I guess, so that would be before New Hope, right? But after Sith, 30 years.
Yeah, it would have to be before New Hope because Luke wasn't.
Sith.
I mean, he was probably right when he was born or when the kids were born. Go ahead.
Right, but the Emperor was excavating something on Jakku.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
That's so awesome.
So it's like, what was he doing there? He actually found Gallus Rax as a child hiding above his ship because Gallus Rax was from Jakku. He was a slave worker there. And pretty much gave the opportunity. He's like, hey, I can either kill you or I'll help you out, and you have to defend this excavation site from others. And sometimes you may have to kill people to defend it. So there's something going on Jakku. He's building something underground, excavating something. What is it? We don't know. But all these different plot lines are converging on Jakku by the end of this book. So I'm assuming by the third we'll know. And that kind of bleeds into Like maybe that has something to do with why Rey's there.
Do they?
or-
I guess. Well, we'll talk. I guess we can get into our theories, but they don't talk about Luke Skywalker in this at all, right?
No, they mentioned he's away, but that's pretty much it. Or that like Leia is trying to do what like Luke is, I guess, trying to teach Leia, like how to use the Force, not necessarily like control stuff, but just like center her mind and stuff.
Oh my God.
Meditate, things like that. Be in the Force. And there's a couple times where like Luke would be so proud because I was able to see, like she sensed Han in danger, and that's how she knew.
Well, that sucks if that's the only part of the Force you get. You can't like move anything or do anything cool. You're just like, oh, I know when my friends are getting beat up.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But yeah, so hopefully
You like it though? It was really good.
Yeah, it's not really good. It's good. By the end, it's just kind of like a movie where the middle part's kind of meh, but by the end, it kind of wraps up. And you're like, oh wow,
His writing style from even the book before that, he just touches on things that you think you want to know about and then leaves.
Well, there's these interludes in between a few chapters. You'll see an interlude, and an interlude. It's more just like what's happening during this time at this other part of the galaxy.
Yeah.
So like before in the first Aftermath book, there was a guy trying to buy Mandalorian armor, and you're like, oh, is that
From Tatooine.
from Tatooine? So you're like, oh, is that Boba Fett? And then, but then it never discovers it. Or like people dressed in dark robes trying to buy supposedly Darth Vader's red lightsabers, because they're dark disciples. So you're like, oh, those are Knights of Ren. So they touched on these things. There's an
enough
interlude
to like make a correlation, but doesn't make the actual connection.
Yeah, but it's still cool to see it. Like there's a interlude in here from Maz Kanata's castle. She's there, like talking about stuff. So that's kind of cool to see those little interludes.
When did this come out? This came out what? Probably a few months ago.
Yeah.
A week ago.
Yeah, a few months ago. The last one comes out in January.
And then, and is there any more? Is it that 3?
It's the 3 of the Aftermath trilogy. There's only 3 books of this specific.
And have they talked about
storyline.
making these into those movies?
No.
I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think I'd want that, honestly. That'd kind of be
No, I think this is just supposed to take place in between.
Well, because all of this stuff can't be life changing, right? It can't shatter the story or be something so crucial that you have to find out about it in the movie.
At least like one of my theories is that this Gallus Rax guy is Supreme Leader Snoke.
Because he was he was kind of an apprentice to.
Yeah, the Emperor. He's obviously in Force Awakens. Don't they mention that Snoke has seen the fall of the Empire? So like
I think something was
something
mentioned
like
about
that.
how he's been around for a really long time.
Yeah, so that fits in with this narrative as
Doesn't
well.
look young.
Yeah. That fits in with this narrative as well. Yeah. So I don't know, that's kind of cool to think about that. That's Snoke. But as you were saying before, you don't think they would reveal something that big in a novel.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of information, like I don't even feel like they should be talking about Han, Leia, and them. I feel like these should be like background characters that are kind of like seen, kind of like the
like Mon Mothma. If you're gonna do something like it's the ancillary characters, not the primary characters of the story.
Of the actual saga films,
right? And I agree because like one of the best things about Star Wars is you created this gigantic universe of characters, and like I love learning about Han and Leia, but it's like, what are all these guys back here doing?
Yeah.
Hey, you. What's your story, buddy? Like, and I'm sure there's interesting stories within that.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. People always get frustrated. It's like, oh, it's always everything is connected. Like, no pun intended with the Force, but like literally you're this person's this person.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that small.
Yeah, like make the universe bigger, but I think at the same time they're like, people like Han and people like Leia and people like Chewie. Remember?
Well, it has a Millennium Falcon on the front.
I know. Well, of course, you got to sell that for sure. Glad you liked it. I am not going to read it.
My next book will be Star Wars Catalyst, which comes out next week. That's the precursor to Rogue One.
Yeah.
And then Thrawn comes out in April.
Did you read
they're actually making a Thrawn book?
Yeah. A new Thrawn, like a canon Thrawn book.
Did you read Ahsoka yet?
No.
Me either.
I was, but I really want to read Catalyst first, and I'll read Ahsoka, and then.
So I want to talk about some Star Wars theories since we got you on the show. We haven't talked about Star Wars enough, so let's do something. So I don't know if you were on the show when I talked about it. Maybe it didn't hear it, but my thought is that Rey is Han and Leia's kid.
I agree.
That's what Dan thinks too.
I agree.
The reason why it makes
that.
and then what they did is they basically Men in Black mind wiped her.
Who's they?
Luke did. Luke put some kind of thing in, like a mental block in her head, like wiped her clean. After basically Ben or Kylo Ren went nuts and started killing all the other younglings, he was able to save Rey from the training because they talk about that they were trying to rebuild the Jedi Empire.
Okay.
That's a theory. I don't know if they've actually specifically stated that. Ben loses his mind, right? Starts murdering all the other younglings. Can't get to Rey because they save her, but to protect her, because remember, in Return of the Jedi, he finds out that his sister is Leia. Luke finds out Leia is his sister. He's fighting Darth Vader, and he's like, oh god. And then he goes, oh, there's another Sky. Like he lets his thoughts betray him, right? And so like you can't even give the person the information. You cannot trust the person with the person to save themselves because someone will use that information against them. So the only way to do that is to knock it out of your head, right? You can't even contain who she was, how they're all related. That's why you put a mind block on Rey that she doesn't know who her family actually is. She doesn't know that Han and Leia are her parents. He takes Han and Leia and wipes the thought of Rey from their minds, so they can no longer, their thoughts can't betray them. So the only people who know who Rey is Luke and Kylo Ren. And that's why when he sees her, he recognizes who she is. That's why he says, every second she's here, she's going to get stronger. And that's why he's like, you're not trained in the Force. Well, how do you even know her? And he says, but I can teach you, because he was there during her training. And then what happens is while she's doing all this, and she's fighting Kylo Ren, something clicks. And that's why she goes, I got it. All of it comes rushing back. All of the Jedi training that she had as a youngling, all of the background of her being through her, being with Luke comes rushing back, and that's why she can just take him to town. You know what I mean?
So, like, Dan, I know your theory, and you could say the same because we've gone back and forth on this. It's very similar. But, like, my biggest thing about both these theories, and I hate it because it makes pretty good sense, but why would they leave her on Jakku?
Because it's a desolate planet.
Why would you do that to your own child?
To protect her. Because if anyone
You have a resistance and a new republic full of ships and fighters and soldiers. You don't think all of them could protect her?
Kylo Ren went nuts. They've seen he stopped a bullet with his mind.
Yeah, but you can't
Darth
do
Vader
that
didn't even
against
do that.
1,000,000 soldiers or ships. Or however many they have.
I think they realize how strong the Force is, the dark side of the Force, and they go, literally, the only way to protect you is to, unfortunately, keep you in absolute isolation.
Which they've done, right? They threw Luke and Leia. They threw Luke in a desolate planet for the same reason.
And they don't tell them who their parents are. They don't tell them their past. Like, oh, my father, he was with the spice merchant. He was a spice raider or whatever that he tells them in New Hope. Like, even as bad as the Empire's gotten, as bad as they've just basically subrogated all of these planets, he's like, I'm gonna wait to tell you about your dad until.
But Luke realized the folly of doing that. That's why, like, he's like, why didn't you tell me? He's like,
right? They've been through all this before. Like, they know their histories their family history by now.
Luke knows that
history has a way of repeating itself, right?
But Luke knows how powerful it is. Like, oh, okay, he fell, but he's not lost. That's why Return of the Jedi was a lot better than you guys are giving it credit for, because he cast aside like what Yoda had told him to do, what Obi-Wan had told him to do. He's just like, no.
He was defiant.
They're still good in him.
Right.
So these two Jedi masters that have been training, like Yoda was how old, everyone? 900 years old. So
he's like,
he said, you know what? I don't care how old you are. I'm going to do this because I think this is right. So I don't think that he wouldn't be like, because Luke is obviously involved. We saw him at the end of the movie, so we know that he's at least there. He wouldn't be like, yeah, we're just going to put her away and not tell her who her parents are. Cause
we're going to do the same thing that they did to me. Leave her on a desolate planet to be a slave, pretty much. Like, why would you ever want that for your kid, even if you're trying to protect her? Like, you couldn't protect her on a nicer planet? Couldn't wipe her memory and put her on some kind of, urban area or somewhere else?
Exactly.
Urban planet
or something? Yeah,
come
somewhere
on.
Nicer, yeah. I think it's just because
that's the biggest hole in that theory to me. It's like, why would you do
but
that
that's
to your
not
kid?
that, then the whole, well...
And
it's isolation. Because, okay, you that same theory doesn't hold true in the original then. Why do you give Leia to become a princess and you give Luke to a desolate Tatooine planet? Unless you thought, Leia's probably not
But
gonna...
at least to family.
If this plan
at least he had family there.
If this plan doesn't work, this one will.
You think it's a
That's true.
You wish
if
that
someone kills one kid, at least you got another Skywalker. There's always another. Right?
Yeah, but it's like, you think ever Luke is like, after he finds, he's like, why couldn't I be the prince and you could be the chick on the freaking planet? Why do I have to get the raw end of that stick? Now,
at least Luke was left with family, but we don't know. I mean, obviously Rey was left with somebody. You see them in the Force flashback.
Yeah, and you see a hand grabbing her.
Yeah, so like she's left with somebody, and they're obviously not alive or.
It's the junk dealer. It's Unkar plot.
That's what I thought. It looks like his hand.
So like, why would they leave her with some freaking jerk?
Well, I think here's the deal. I think. Here's another theory. That junk guy, he comes across as like a complete jerk to her and like taking advantage of her. But then there's moments like there's a moment in that movie where it's like he's actually the protector of her and doesn't want to.
When?
There's a moment, I can't remember exactly in the movie, but there's a moment where he like kind of gives a long look at her, or even also the hand on her. Maybe he's there. He's meant to be the bad guy so that she never has enough money to ever actually make to leave, to make the decision to leave.
So he's the one that's kind of sticking
keeping
her,
her down so that she doesn't have the motivation.
like a jailer.
To, yeah, yeah.
So she's a prisoner.
Yeah, the invisible hand.
That's nice of her parents to do that to her. That's
right,
nice.
but it's because I think that's the only right. I mean, I know this is, but that's the only hope, right?
I got you, buddy.
No, but that's the only hope is Rey to continue the Jedi Order, because he killed all of the other younglings. He broke Luke Skywalker's spirit, which is like, Luke, get it together, bro. You have seen some crazy stuff. Knock it off.
Then
Figure
just train her to go the Sith route. One apprentice, one master.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but I'm saying I think the point is that you finally broke Luke. You finally did it. Way to go, Darkseid. Something had to happen, and I think it's because of the connection that he always sees the good in everybody. And I think Kylo Ren is even further evil. You don't think so?
Nope. Okay, so you and
It's
I
the hair?
you and I were really close. You and I were really close.
Really close. Yeah.
Adam Driver is just so pretty. He can't be that evil.
And the force back that Rey has, the first thing that happens, she's on Cloud City, right? She first touches the Luke's lightsaber, or technically Anakin's
lightsaber. Yeah.
So touches that, and then flashes back to Luke and Anakin both fighting in Cloud City. That's the first scene that you see. She's in the hallway.
Yeah.
Then the hallway starts to crumble, and then she falls and like kind of twists over, and then she's on a planet where it's raining. And there's a guy with a helmet standing over her that gets a red lightsaber through his chest.
Yep.
That guy falls. I think that's one of the Knights of Ren.
Yeah. But what does that mean?
That means that the Knights of Ren all went there to destroy all the Jedi younglings that Luke was training.
Mm-hmm.
When he went to destroy Rey, because Rey is replacing herself in this scene.
Okay.
And Kylo saves her.
That's the good. That's the moment of good.
There's still good in him. So Kylo destroys the guy that's attacking her.
Am I allowed to interject? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
So like and I think I talked about this too, my plot hole with that is like, why would the other Knights of Ren around him allow Kylo to save her?
He is the master of the Knights of Ren. It was said by
Who cares?
No, but there is an idea. There is an idea that like you see it in like Game of Thrones. You see it in this idea of like you respect the guy that can take it. Like it's not a. If you give me the opportunity, if you leave yourself vulnerable to be vanquished, then that only proves that you weren't good enough.
But you think he's the leader? You don't think Snoke is the?
Well, Snoke says you're the leader of the Knight, or you're the, what does he say? The master of the Knights of Ren. He says
I
that.
love this. I love like the deep Star Wars theories, man.
He said, so he says that to him. So
they pretty much do what he says. Don't kill her. We'll kill everyone else. Just don't kill her.
Yeah, and
if some guy tried to kill her, and Kylo was like, "No, I said don't kill her."
Well, no, he may not have said don't kill her, but they may have just going around. You see bodies all over that scene, so maybe they're just all there and they're just destroying every Jedi there, and then Kylo's like, no, and he stops Rey from being killed by the Knights.
I have another thing.
Go ahead.
So you're saying that she is looking through her perspective, like she was there.
Yes.
So then, how did she see them fighting in Cloud City? So you're saying she's flopping back from someone else's visions?
No, because she touched the lightsaber. It was
she gets both. She gets flashbacks. She gets
Well, because it's a force back, so it's anything related to the item that she touched originally, which flashed her back to Bespin, and so she sees.
So maybe the lightsaber was there, but not her.
That's right. No, the lightsaber wasn't.
No, that's the point. It's either her flash, her own personal.
Well, that's how it started when she touched it, and then when that all kind of crumbled around her, because that was the last time you saw that lightsaber was in that scene.
When his hand got cut
so
off.
Are we in agreement that her memory has in some way been impaired by someone?
Yes.
By someone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's obvious. Yeah, because you can't remember who
it
her
is.
parents are. So.
Well, I think I know who it is.
Keep going through.
I don't know how.
Who do you think it is? Do you think it's Luke?
So the next scene after that guy gets stabbed,
The Knights of Ren.
the Knights of Ren.
Let's just call him Steve because he looked like a Steve.
Yeah.
He's like,
well, I don't know. He had that helmet on. I don't think Steve would wear a helmet.
Okay, it's true.
Anyway, so when you see that kind of pan up, you see the fallen Ren, and then you see Kylo standing over, and then she kind of freaks out a little bit, and then the ending of that fast flashback or force back is
force backs.
Love it.
Is Unkar Plot grabbing
You see his
grabbing-
meaty hand, right? Yeah.
You see his like
His
squishy
banana
arm,
hand, yeah.
and it's his voice too.
Yeah.
And he grabs her arm and he says like, "Be quiet, girl," because she's like screaming, "No."
It's
And
just
there's-
ships
and
flying
Just
away.
ships flying away. Yeah.
Do you see where the ship flies to? Because it's flying towards something.
Some kind of moon.
So I paused it. It's not a moon. It's actually a
It's not a
rectangle.
moon. Sorry.
It's a rectangular shape in the sky.
Okay.
That same rectangular shape and the scene that you see. So you see Rey in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. When that happens and the ship flies away and you see the square that it's flying towards.
Okay.
You see that same exact scene, and I showed Gerald, I sent him the pictures. You see the same exact scene as she's an adult later in the movie when Starkiller Base is pulling through, because it pulls
the energy from the sun.
the energy from some planet through that little square in the sky. It's the same exact thing. So I think that it was actually Kylo Ren that left her there on Jakku, wiped her mind,
He wanted to protect her.
and then left.
This is the problem that I hate. I hate with the dark side. Like, it's like I'm going to be the most evil thing, except this one instance.
He's not trying to be like he wasn't like.
But he's not even being good then. He's like, yeah, I'm sparing your life, but I'm putting you in a
Prison.
world of this. Yeah, prison.
But they showed through that whole movie how much torture it was for him to
make the final jump.
to do it. Like he's like,
No, there's that
I'm gonna-
conflict. Yeah, there's the confliction that is
The
there, and
whole
I
movie,
understand
he-
that.
She
but
does that.
no,
So
But wipe
but
her
where does
mind
she-
and put her on a civilized
this is
planet.
10. Well, 'cause
So is she Han and Leia's kid, and she was training with
sister.
Ben?
I'm
and-
guessing based off of like the actor's age and the age in the people in the movie, they're about 10 years different. So it was Ben Solo's younger
and he probably
sister.
that's his little sister.
It's his little sister. So he couldn't do it. And
That makes sense too.
And then when now flashback to everything else in the movie. So you see like Han sees her and he's like, "Hey, you know what? You should join me on my ship. You know, Chewie kind of likes you."
But
there's
did they
that,
ever?
like,
Because they talk about Han and Leia talk about. They never talk about their daughter. So
no,
did they?
because as far as they know, Ben killed her.
Yeah, but to not like they don't even I guess it's selective. It's selective conversation. We don't hear every conversation within these fictitious characters.
Exactly.
But like they talk so much about Ben, but to just not even mention to the audience,
Because
oh yeah, he also
That's
killed
when
their daughter.
That's when their world was like ripped apart. Think about it. Like, so you have the younger daughter
absolutely. No.
destroyed by their son, and they're just like that whole
Yeah,
thing.
but I still think they would be destroyed as a family if like their son became a serial killer. Like that would rip you
Killed a
apart.
bunch of children. Yeah, kind of.
Like remember the time you didn't go to soccer practice? Look what happens.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, but
I
I
wanted the blue box macaroni. And
I feel
cheese.
like a lot of that, like most good Star Wars stories, is kind of omitted. So we can all. I mean,
there's got to be a like.
was Vader telling him the truth? Is
So-
it really his father?
So here's the thing: like Maz mentions the lightsaber, right? It
Oh,
was
how
like
crazy
this was,
would that be?
This was his, and then it was
Okay, I gotta go. Hold on.
and then it was like his son's. It's passed down from family to family. You obviously react to it. So she's obviously they're alluding to she's a Skywalker in some sort, right? Or
No.
Solo.
I don't.
She's related to these characters in some way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The Skywalker lineage.
Yeah.
But what if she was Luke's daughter?
I
The
don't.
problem with that is like, okay, so if that's the case, then like you're assuming that Luke. I agree. I think the whole idea of like the Jedi Order, the traditional rules, like Luke has pretty much said, like I'm
Yeah.
cool with.
I'm the Jedi
Yeah,
Order. All right? I'm making my own.
Who's
that
gonna
didn't
ye-
work out so great last time.
Yeah, but who's gonna argue with him that you're not following the rules? There's no one left. Like, I mean, the ghost versions could come back and be like, "Hey, knock it off." Be like, "What are you gonna do?" So I think the whole idea of like not getting married, like that's out the window. You know what I mean? Like at that point, whatever. Like he can have love in his life.
He already did. He loved his
right.
father.
But the problem that I have with that is like we are literally repeating the same story. That of like it is the hope of the one child, of the child. Like that it can only be a Skywalker that saves the world.
And that was my biggest thing too. Like, there's obviously billions of people in this galaxy. There's not one other strong Force person.
No, because these saga films are about the Skywalker.
I know,
the Skywalker lineage.
And that lightsaber would not react to anybody else but someone of that lineage. Like, I understand that.
Or
I would just
some way
like,
related within that lineage of a Skywalker
Exactly,
or
yeah.
a Solo. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
maybe
Plus
it's Uncle Owen's, niece or something.
Uncle Owen. No, that's awesome. I don't mind that. It's just it's sometimes it feels like it's too small. Like it's come on, like this is too convenient. All of this is way too convenient. But again, they're like it's prophecy. It's like, okay, all right, fine.
Yeah,
Fine.
and I'm okay with that because I kind of like this new twist on it. Like, we don't know, like, this battle that Kylo's having because this is new. Like, does he want to be, like, does Snoke want him to be both sides of the Force? I'm pretty sure Snoke has no Force powers. That's also another thing.
Well, and if my theory is true and Gallus Rax is Snoke, then that makes sense.
I don't think he has any Force powers because Han says he's only using you for your power.
Well, that's always the case. I mean, it's
But then who
the
trained
best.
Ben Solo with
Luke.
his, with the dark side of the Force and all that stuff?
Oh, it just comes to you, man.
That.
After you pick it up, like if you know how to swing a sword, you know how to swing a sword, man.
It's gonna be like Rebels, like, oh, I found a Sith holocron, taught me everything.
When you
It could be, but I think the idea is like it's like this idea like once you trigger something on the. This is my opinion. Once you trigger something in the Force, like you have the opportunity to take in whatever you want. It's like I'm trying to think of like all you can eat buffet. Once you get in there, once you get into the buffet, you can pick what you want. That's how I see it because it's this idea of like.
It's quick. It's easy.
But
Right.
you've always had, like, either it's light side or dark side, you have a teacher who teaches you these things.
I want this to be like the gray.
That would
that
be
would be-
interesting.
Where it's,
Like
there's no Sith.
Yeah, because it's
Like,
about.
he idolizes Vader, obviously.
Yeah,
So
so
that's part of the Sith, and maybe that's why he's...
but like he could use both sides of the Force to be even more powerful.
that's a good point. See the thing.
So
that,
he can do all the super cool power stuff that the Sith can do, and can... What?
But he has to
Move
balance.
stuff.
He has to balance. It's always been about the balance, right?
No, I think I like the idea that it's because one of the things that sucks about like the Jedi is like they have all these great powers, but it's like it's supposed to be all in like reaction to. It's like people who like train in karate and martial arts. It's like,
Yeah.
you only use it as defense. It's like why? There's a lot of time spent on that, man. Go kick some. You know, it's like so I can see the balance in that. But that's like the perfect thing, right? It's like I get to use all these Force powers for aggressive behavior. But I don't see the payoff. What's the negative of that?
I don't feel there are Force powers that the light side has that the dark side can't have.
Yellow eyes is the downfall.
Oh, is that it?
You
have
get yellow eyes, you're like, oh man, now everybody knows.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of cool dark side stuff that's exclusive to the Sith teachings and all that stuff, but there's nothing light side exclusive that we've seen.
You know why this
So
is
they could push and they could do Jedi mind tricks and stuff.
There is.
What?
lightning? Isn't that
No,
only one of the few
they
things?
become one with the Force. They're the only ones that can live on
Oh,
after
that's
they
true.
die.
That's true.
That's
And
a big deal.
That's what
Immortality,
That's what the Emperor wanted, right? He wanted to live forever,
right through this plane.
and he can't, like, because that was the whole thing. I can teach, and he's like, Anakin,
Darth
we'll watch
Plagueis.
this weird little like opera thing with the sperm, and and I will tell you how you can make somebody live forever, and that's what they wanted. But if he had just ignored that and then go talk to Yoda, who talked to Qui-Gon, he would have been like,
It's
hey,
Fountain
look,
of Youth versus
But
Ascending,
that was,
right?
what if that was all a lie just to get him to...
No, it can't be.
What do you mean? Have we seen invulnerable Sith
It's
before?
not about
No.
invulnerability. It's just I
Well,
think
that's what I mean, but you know what I mean. We've never seen a Sith that can do that.
what? That's invulnerable.
Well, that's like the
That's
idea that
literally
that
all,
time travel will never happen because no one's ever come back. and
Well, yeah,
told us that.
supposedly.
No, but I'm
that's-
saying he could have just said that to Anakin. Like, oh yeah, we totally know how to live forever, for your Padme.
Agreed. And then he said that Plagueis figured it out, but he obviously died. And then
Yeah, Palpatine killed him like the day before.
right, that's the point. So it's like, okay, well, you didn't figure it out. Like, so the whole thing was just a ruse to get him to
but
fall.
the problem the
Yeah, yeah.
Sith have always had is the boiling crab problem, right? Like no one can ascend to such power because the one behind him is always like, no, you can't get that powerful. You could be a little bit more powerful than me, but not that.
But that's the drive.
right. But that's my point.
That's why
It's-
there's only two.
No, I agree, but that's always their downfall,
Yeah.
is the fact that no one can ever, I mean, for a long period of time, the Empire was around for quite a while, but no one can ascend to such powerfulness to just control everything forever, because the one right behind him, they always are the ones that get him.
No.
You would
They're-
think they
they're-
would be like, why don't we go to one? I'm not going to tell anybody my power.
Because if someone accidentally kills you, runs you over with a speeder or something, there's no one else to take your place. Accidents can happen. You never know.
Sorry, Senator Palpatine.
Akbar
Accidentally
gets
turn
drunk.
on the airlock. Sorry, guys.
Why this conversation is, or why Star Wars is awesome is because we get that. This is a conversation. Like the movies in 7 was done in such a way that it fed you enough stuff that you could go nuts with it. Now, all of the movies have really done that, but this one I thought specifically, like they have the people. How do those people that work there who know I bet they wipe their mind like Ray. That's the only way. But I think the point is like there's people there that know this stuff. It's the same thing with like Game of Thrones and like those some HBO executives.
It's all been storyboarded.
They know. Like
the
how
end
do
of
you
at
not?
least this trilogy?
Hey, don't tell anybody. I didn't tell you this, but don't tell it. Like how
because
does that not?
loose lips sink starships, David.
That's true. That is
Well,
true.
like what you said back to Return of the Jedi, when he pulls that out of his mind, Luke lets it slip in his mind that, you have a sister. And so that was the first time we saw that I can remember like a dark side user actually pulling something out of their mind. And then you see it all over the place with Kylo Ren, just like, oh, hey, thanks.
So you're saying non-disclosure agreements are the same thing as the dark side?
No, what I'm saying is like I think it's really cool how they use that. So like in the dark side and in 7 and Force Awakens, when he's pulling these things out of their mind, like all these new little we think are new tricks that are just retold.
Okay, so now that we got through that, I want to talk about. We got 2 more things. We got a review of a board game, and then we got story of the week. So, what do you guys want to do first?
So we got story.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's just talk about it.
So, story of the century
Of the week.
Okay, so obviously some big news this week.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there was an election.
Huge news, David.
Okay, so
Huge.
we need to talk about this, and this show is not a political show. Obviously, we talk about Star Wars for the last 45 minutes.
Like
so,
the best board game election. Like
yeah, exactly.
we all
so
voted
take,
on. I don't
take
remember.
everything that we're going to say with a grain of salt. But I do want to say some stuff about the election.